Hello everyone, my name is Sticky and today I'm bringing you another guide, this time on a Utah versus Dilo. And this is going to be both 1v1 and what to do in a pack. First of all, let's go over the stats. So, a Dilo sprint is slower than a Utah sprint. Go ahead and run. Not forward. So Utah will always catch a Dilo with just sprint. Now the ambush speed. Go ahead and get your ambush speed. Same thing with the ambush speeds. Utah ambush speed is quicker than the Dilo. Much quicker actually. Now, the turn radius, Z turn, Z walk turn. Again, Utah is much faster. Much faster. So, and also Utah has a jump, which Dilo doesn't. But however, Dilo ambush speed is faster than a normal sprint for a Utah. So big. Yep. Let me know when you have it. Alright, so Utah is faster, Utah turns quicker, and Utah has a jump. These three things make Utah much more powerful than a Dilo. What I mean by that is there are huge advantages over a Dilo, and the only advantage that Dilo has is its bleed. Now let's go with the bite stats. So if a standing Dilo, a Utah will have to bite it 3 times to bleed it out. So 3 bites, you can disengage and it will just bleed out. So for example, a Dilo just sits there with the alt turn, not letting you, come up and bite it. You can get 3 bites in, obviously as safe as you can, and the Dilo will bleed out. Now with the sprinting Dilo, you only need 2 bites. 2 bites from a Utah and a Dilo will die from the bleed if it's sprinting. However, at Dilo versus Utah, it's only 1 bite to bleed out a Utah. Just 1 bite from the Dilo will bleed out a Utah. That being said, let's go over the mistakes that Utahs do when they fight Dilos. Number 1 mistake: never trade bites for bites. Ever. You do not need to. You do not need to run straight at the Dilo and trade bites. Because of your advantages, because you're quicker, you turn faster, and you have a jump, you should never trade bites. Your advantages let you get behind the Dilo without trading bites. For example, if you're, let's go ahead and run in the circle. Eventually, you're gonna catch up to the Dilo just by running in the circle. And to make it even faster, what you can do is do a little Z turns while you're running in the circle. So if you're both running in the circle, you can stop, do a little Z turn, and I call it cutting the circle. Go ahead and let's run. You're gonna stop, Z-turn a little bit, and then again, and then again. And eventually you cut the circle and get to their back faster. Just like this. And this actually lets you bite them easily if they're just turning. Second way you can get behind a Dilo without trading bites is simply jump over them and Z-turn behind them. And there you go, you're on their back. Let's try if you're predicting it, if you're gonna be able to make it quick enough. I don't think I might have gotten bit there, but most likely not. But yeah, so 2 ways to get behind a Dilo. So again, don't ever trade bites for bites. Don't ever run behind, through them, and then turn around and try to ride them. Like, just 1 bite from the Dilo will kill you. You don't wanna get bit ever, because you have advantages which will allow you to simply get behind it. Number 2 mistake is once you get bit, let's say you were riding the Dilo, or you made a mistake, doesn't matter. You made a mistake, you got bit. Don't ever try to run away from the Dilo, ever. Because 1 bite will bleed you out. And because the Dilo is not that much slower that you can just run away and heal your bleed, by the time you sit down and try to heal your bleed, it's gonna find you and it's gonna kill you. don't ever run from a Dilo. If you get bit, simply don't panic, get behind it again, and ride it again. And kill it before you die from the bleed. It's gonna take quite some time to bleed out from just one bite. Just know that you will eventually die from one bleed, or from one bite from a Dilo. But if you do get bit, don't try to run away because you will die. So the only chance of survival you have at that point is to kill the Dilo before it kills you. So those are two gross mistakes that you just do against Dilos, and I see this everywhere. They always try to run away, and they always kind of go head on, trading bites. Now in a stand-up fight, just like this, let's say we're just standing on top of each other just biting. It's a 50-50 because it takes 7 bites for me to kill the Dilo, and it's 7 bites for the Dilo to kill me. So you never want to trade, just stand and bite, because it's a 50-50. Whoever bites first is gonna win first, you know. So that being said, so getting behind the Dilo, I mean, it's already went over this. So in a 1v1 situation, if it just faces you, get your speed, ambush speed up, test it, try to get behind it just like this. If it's not letting you, if it's constantly facing you, then go ahead and try to jump. See how they're gonna react. Are they gonna turn around right away? And if they do, simply run away, try again, and then try again. And at some point, you're gonna be able to get behind them. They're not gonna predict it. And it might even be on the first try, they might not predict it, and you'll be able to turn around behind them without getting bit. But if you do see that they're turning around right away, then just keep running, and then try again later. Now, sometimes they will run at you. Same thing, you're predicting to land behind them, but you landed too far behind them, and they have time to react and turn around. In that case, just run away, turn around again, try again. Alright, but if you end up like this, you can just keep circling until you get behind them. So that's 2 ways to get behind them. Circle them, cut the corner, or cut the circle if you can. If you can't, jump over them, and then Z-turn behind them. Now, while you're riding a Dilo, go ahead and run. You have to be very careful of their brake check, because they stop instantly, and if you don't predict it, they will stop instantly, you're gonna end up in front of them. So to counter that, what I personally do, and I recommend everybody does, go ahead and run and try to brake check me. Well, I'll tell you when to brake check me. So when you run, go ahead and run. When you get close for a bite, what you're gonna do is you're gonna bite and stop. And that way, because the Dilo, in order to brake check, the Dilo needs you to be very close on their back. So right about here, that's when it's gonna brake check you, when you're close. If you're too far and it tries to brake check, you have time to react. So in order for them not to do that, not to brake check you, all you're gonna do is, as soon as you start catching up to their tail, somewhere in the middle of the tail, let's pretend, go ahead and stop. Let's pretend we're running. Eventually you're catching up to it. Right about in the middle of the tail, you're gonna land the bite. You might even land the bite as far as the end of the tail. Maybe not. We're not registering right now. But anyway, so somewhere in the middle of the tail, once you get to about this point, you're gonna bite and stop. And that way, if it tries to brake check you, you already stopped. So kind of predicting when they're gonna brake check you. What else do we need to cover? I mean, in a 1v1, I mean, it's pretty simple. Just get behind them, ride them, don't get brake checked. If you do get bit, just get behind them again and kill them before they kill you. That's in a 1v1 situation. Now let's talk about a pack war. Let's say 3, 4, 5 Dilos versus 3, 4, 5 Utahs. Let's say 3. So you see 3 Dilos and they see you, and you gotta face off, you're deciding what you're gonna do. Now for this part, I do recommend that everybody in your pack uses VC, because it helps you organize and it's gonna help you fight the Dilos. Because you do not want to run into a fight with another pack without VC, without being able to communicate what you're gonna do, because it's just gonna be everybody fighting everybody, and it's just gonna be a 50-50 which pack wins, because everybody's just unorganized. So I do recommend that all the Utahs use VC with whoever you play. So VC 3 Dilos and you got 3 Utahs. At this point, in order not to, you know, to you just run in and bite at the same Dilo and bite each other, what you're gonna do is each one of you is gonna pick one Dilo. And once you engage into a fight, you're just gonna stick to that specific Dilo. You're gonna try to get behind it, and you're gonna try to ride it, and you're gonna try to kill it. And that's gonna be all of you. Each one of you is gonna pick one specific Dilo by color or however you want to. And you're gonna stick, once the fight starts, you're gonna, you know, try to get behind that Dilo, obviously try to avoid the other Dilos, and once you're behind them, ride them and kill them just like you would in a 1v1 scenario. And obviously, you know, try not to get hit by other Dilos, but it depends on the fight, how the fight goes. But basically in a pack war, you're gonna try to split them, stick to only one Dilo, so as not to bite each other. And that's, I mean, that's pretty simple. So to recap, do not trade bytes for bytes with the Dilo, because you have the advantages, because you're faster, turn quicker, you have a jump. Don't ever trade bytes for bytes. You have the advantages, use them. Second mistake, once you get bit, do not try to run away. Simply try to get behind them again and kill them before you bleed out. And then in a pack war, try not to go for the same Dilo and bite each other. And I think that's about it. Happy hunting. And thank you for the staff of Life Breaks Free server for helping us make this video. And good luck everybody. Bye.